Hey, yo. Sorry, I'm eating pistachios. Give me a sec. This episode contains mentions of death. No, wait, dude, I almost got it. No, just stay in the call for like 5 more minutes. I swear to fuck. Okay, I almost got it. I just gotta do some more stretching, and then I'll be able to do it. I swear to fuck. Okay, I almost got it. Alright, okay.
Can't believe after all these years, I'm finally here.
You kiss her down on the mouth. Holy fucking shit, I got it. Oh my god. Okay, so if you don't get that reference, you need to go watch Smiling Friends right now. Like, right fucking now. It's so good. It's such a good show. You need to go watch it, like, right now. I'm not even being paid to say this. It's so good. Oh yeah. Hold on, I'm eating pistachios. Okay. Big warning for cringe. Just a general cringe warning. I enjoy being cringe, but some people don't enjoy viewing cringe. Cringe can't exist in a vacuum. Cringe is only cringe when cringe is being observed. You know what I mean? And I'm forcing you at gunpoint to listen to my cringy shit. Which will be, like, me basically reading, like, a self-insert thing into the Star Trek universe later. Oh, I got a bad pistachio. Oh. Oh, gross. But anyways, fuck you. I'm gonna force you to listen to my cringe, and I'm not gonna apologize. Okay.
No, don't turn me into a hat.
Yeah, I didn't realize until I started trying to do her voice that she's got sort of a wheezy undertone if you, like, listen to it. It's pretty weird. I've had an addiction to Cookie Clicker recently. Specifically the stock market little mini game. I don't know why I find it so absolutely fascinating. It's just, like, exactly my thing. That being said, fuck NFT bros. The creator of Cookie Clicker, I follow him on Tumblr. You know what? He's such a king. He's such a king. He also is a supreme hater of NFT bros. I have the advantage over people who play Cookie Clicker on Steam because I use the browser version, and the browser version allows you to cheese it with the saving system. So, for example, if you were going to, like, cast a spell in order to make an hour's worth of cookies in, like, half a second, there's a pretty big chance that spell will fail. Well, if you're on the desktop browser version, you can just copy your save file and then do the spell, and if the spell doesn't work, you can just, like, import your save file.
Hello, my name is Hatsune Miku. Hatsune Miku and many my friends tell me they use saucepans. Saucepans? What was overused technology?
I'm getting a little scared at how good my Hatsune Miku impression is getting.
Sekoide.
And then ordinarily I sound like this. I can go from this to Miku in not very long.
Oh my god, I can't believe I'm gay and trans and inventing Minecraft. Oh no, I just remembered the Miku binder incident. Sad face. I don't understand what you're saying. Can you please slow down? You're gonna give me a panic attack. Por favor, yo no puedo hablar español.
I can't believe I said that quickly in Miku's voice. Please slow down. You're gonna give me a panic attack. You're talking so quickly. Nada dices, por favor, que no me español. Here's another Twitch streamer moment that I was imagining. I was imagining me playing Portal 2, you know, the moment where Wheatley speaks like nonsense Spanish. That's what I was imagining when I came up with the "Nada dices, por favor, que no me español" thing. And I was also thinking of like playing another video game and coming across like a really sad-looking cat and just stopping and like crouching in front of him and inspecting the model. Like, while I'm supposed to be doing another mission or being chased by a monster or something, and I'm just looking at it, and I'm just like, oh, que ojos tristes. Ah! Ay, ay, ay. That's so sad. I've been listening to something for about an hour and 20 minutes now, and I'm going to force you to listen to it for 2 minutes straight. I've been listening to that for an hour and 20 minutes now. I have been slowly going insane. I do this thing where I select random 1 hour or like 10-hour audios that are really fucking annoying, and then I play them in VC and force all of my friends to listen to them. And I've been doing that now for a couple days. And today we are listening to Mungdal say, "You take the moon, and you 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 take the moon." Because clearly, you take the moon, and you take the moon, and you take the moon. With my very last breath, I'll take the moon. You stir it all up, and then you moon. Moon, 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 moon. You take the moon, and you take the moon.
You are gay.
What makes you think I am gay?
You are gay.
I keep having Star Trek daydreams about me and a few side characters from an away team on Voyager. The Voyager crew having crash landed on a planet, and that the Vulcan was with us, Vorik. I was thinking about him having like a fascination with human culture and hierarchy, and well, whenever I put myself in Star Trek situations, I always make my character into this this very neurodivergent, mentally ill person. I mean, like, of course, I'm that already, but I really exaggerate it when I'm in Star Trek. But like, simultaneously, I make my really mentally ill version of myself very trained in emotional recognition and like awareness, and not like suppression, but control and healthy expression and knowing when and when not to act on my emotions, which I do anyways. But I thought that a human, especially an autistic human that doesn't pick up a bunch of social cues that would often and doesn't seem that interested in playing this social game, that this hierarchy that everyone concerns themselves so much with, this structure of the unspoken rules of interaction and society. I make a point to completely ignore it. So as an autistic human who like chooses to try and not to flog myself in order to fit into neurotypical culture like a lot of autistic people do, I think Vorik would have an interest in me and my behavior, I think he would consider me a very interesting, atypical human capable of emotional intelligence and logical intelligence, not on par with Vulcan, but at the very least Vulcan-like. And I think that's really cool. Like, I always imagine him giving, like, Stardate logs on everyone's behavior and the little society we've created on this crash planet. And then when he gets to me, he starts talking about how I seem very aware of my emotional limits and my emotional expression, and how I don't really react to antagonization, and how I'm very perceptive and a good listener when it comes to perceiving and dealing with other people's emotions. And so, like, I also, okay, this one is really embarrassing, but it's mostly because I have a crush on Vorik. This one's a little embarrassing. I also imagine him, like, commenting on this, like, how this big, beefy, masculine guy sort of naturally takes on the role of a mother, in the little group, like cooking and cleaning and comforting people, healing people. I'm not a doctor, but I do my best to, like, assist people, make sure they're doing okay, and I always try to make sure that they stay in line and are behaving themselves and keeping calm and well-fed so we can all cooperate better and get back to Voyager, yada, yada, yada. We can get back home more quickly. And I think he would have a fascination of my sort of placing myself in the role of the matriarch, so to speak. I keep imagining one of the crew members accidentally, like, getting pregnant, like B'Elanna or something, and I make it my personal duty to make sure she's, like, well cared for and given water and a good place to sleep, and, like, exercise and stuff. I don't think that, like. Okay, the way Vulcans are portrayed gives me the idea that they don't have people who often deviate from, like, sexual orientation or gender, because of the way arranged marriages work and because of their emotional suppression in Vulcan society. I think that, like, trans and gay Vulcans aren't really taboo or anything, but, like, they're uncommon, or they're common, but they never really realize that they deviate sexually and gender-wise from the norm, or maybe they do realize, but they sort of just push it to the side for the sake of convenience of everyone else. And I think that Vorik asking me a lot of questions about me taking on a very motherly role despite being a guy, and him being curious about my behavior, and that's pretty much it. I know that the characterization of, like, a quote-unquote good person is really vague and sometimes a harmful thing that comes into play in today's society, especially with, deeply run purity culture that exists in American culture. But, I would think that by my standards, I am a good person. And I used to not think that. I used to think of myself as a very neutral or bad person all the time because I was, like, so deeply entrenched in this very white Christian idea that you as a human have something inherently wrong with you just because you exist like this. Bad things happen to you. Which is obviously stupid, and I could go on a rant for hours about how that kind of culture is literally, like, the fucking leading cause of suicide. But anyways, as I was saying, I consider myself to be a good person. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because I just had an experience that I have every so often. Every once in a while, I do something that I consider to be bad. For example, I exaggerate a little bit when I'm telling a story or a joke, or I say something provably false just for the social points. And those things don't really make me feel guilty or anything, but I know they're not morally sound by my own standards. What I'm talking about is the quote-unquote douchey things that I do sometimes, and I just did one of those things the other day. Mother offered me some alcoholic beverages Cayman Jacks, and I accepted her offer because every once in a while I like to drink. I know that sounds like a crime, but whatever. And she knows I'm responsible, and she knows that I'm too poor to become an alcoholic. So she's got this cooler that she's taking to a cookout later. So I know that the Cayman Jacks are supposed to be like communal, right? They're supposed to be for everybody. I went out to the cooler and I took far too many Cayman Jacks to be considered socially acceptable, and I feel horribly guilty over that. But like the guilt, the feeling, the experience of guilt is like weirdly affirming in a way. It's like this big huge response that humans naturally evolved in order to not be rejected in today's society. We evolved guilt because we are social animals, and we know that cooperation is the right thing to do. And I happen to know that I usually abide by the social rules that I for sure definitely know exist, and that I for sure definitely know should be followed, so nobody feels slighted or like anything unfair has happened to them. For example, opening up the cooler once you get to the cookout and realizing that your son has taken far too many Cayman Jacks to be considered socially acceptable. And since I know for sure that like 90% of the time I don't cause a whole lot of harm, and that I only do these douchey things every once in a while, and since I know that I experience this feeling of guilt whereas a more selfish person wouldn't, I know that by my standards, I am a good person. Which is weird. Why do I have to be a good person? Why do I have to deal with guilt when I consciously and knowingly made a douchey decision simply for the sake of my own benefit, I know the reason, of course. It's just how humans are made. We're all social creatures, and cooperation and conformity are in our nature, but I wish guilt weren't so inconvenient to me when I'm trying to knowingly do something I shouldn't. Here's another snippet from the Star Trek universe. This is me torturing some guy with my mental abilities because he killed my friend or whatever. Alright, I decided to be kind and give you a second cringe warning. The cringy stuff is coming up right now. You feel that? That is the sensation of every single nerve in your body being utterly convinced that you are on fire. Every single one. Not just the nerves on your skin, but the nerves inside. Your muscles, your spine, your eyes, your skull. Every iota of your sensory ability is honed in on the sensation of burning alive. Not many empaths can do that, Most can only access surface-level thoughts. I spent years inflicting burns on myself. Memorizing the sensation, letting my body heal, and then trying to inflict the sensation on myself. This time without fire. I studied other injuries like this as well. Would you like me to demonstrate them to you? Lacerations, abrasions, bruises, bone breaks, bone fractures, teeth pulling, drowning, electrocution. Oh, and here's my favorite. I obviously couldn't practice this one on myself. I found a pre-warp civilization that routinely disembowels people as a form of capital punishment, and I tapped into their minds as they were dying, and memorized that sensation too. Would you like to feel it? Oh, that doesn't feel very good, does it? Should have thought about that before. I told you that when I found you, you would undergo a fate worse than death. And I meant it. With every fiber of my being. I've just accidentally committed a food crime. I accidentally left various breaded, non-branded chicken products in the air fryer overnight. Not to say that the air fryer was on all night, but my chicken stuff went stale. I found it this morning. All I did was sprinkle some salt on the stuff, warm it up enough to kill the bacteria, and then I just ate the chicken stale. I have very weird and very specific taste in men. One of the cartoon characters that I have a crush on happens to be Ice King. From Adventure Time, yeah, the really weird dude with the white beard, yeah, that guy. What I think is funny is that, he has very specific traits that a lot of my favorite characters share. One, he is incredibly lonely. Two, he suffers from psychosis. And you know what? At the very least, it puts him and Spampton in a Venn diagram together, you know? And I don't know what you guys should do with this information, but I thought I should point it out. You know what's kind of fucked up? I'm thinking about I'm thinking about something my mom said to me one time. Not too long ago. I think it was less than a year ago. I'm not sure. She stopped me in the kitchen and she was like, "Can I ask a favor of you?" And I was like, because I was having a weird blood pressure day where I kind of felt like I would pass out if I did anything too vigorous. And I was like, "Depends on the favor." And she's like, can you not die in the basement, please? And I just stared at her for a few seconds, and I was really confused, and then she's like, "Nobody would know. Like, nobody would check on you for a couple days, at least. Or until you start stinking." Man, I know she didn't mean it like that, but combined with how she and a lot of other people have generally neglected me, like my entire childhood, it really hurt. If I died, none of my neighbors would know. Nobody but my mom and my immediate family and my online friends would know. Nobody in my neighborhood knows me. I never go outside. Man. And I mean, it's not like I wanna change that. You know, I'm perfectly happy staying inside. It's just, it's really, really hard to not feel unimportant. You know? Like I'm just a footnote that the neighbors will, think of. It's like, oh, there's kids in the newspaper. Apparently he's our neighbor. He tripped and fell and busted his head open on the basement floor. Or he hung himself. Or he died of pneumonia. You know? Just a casual, detached conversation about me, you know? 'Cause nobody knows me. No, I think only a handful of people are gonna grieve. You know? And that kind of scares me a little. I mean, I've always had like a weird relationship with death, and I'm not afraid to die, but just nobody knowing me. Nobody even, like, thinking of me when I go out. That's really scary. I'm thinking about the rant that the narrator went on from the Stanley Parable. I'm thinking about the rant that he went on during the skip button ending. Man, That shit resonated me. That shit resonated with me so fucking hard, and I'm gonna tell you why right now. It's because of two specific lines. But in case you haven't heard the rant, let me bring it up here. I'm gonna do a recreation of it right now. Give me a sec. I gotta lean forward. I don't have my glasses on. The text is tiny. Ugh. The game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned. They screamed. They gnashed their teeth and said, "Entertain us!" It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review and make all their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First he wouldn't entertain us, and now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. That's the rant. And I'm thinking specifically about the but then he's talking too much. First he wouldn't entertain us, and now he won't shut up. Specifically, that really resonates with me, because when I moved around a lot as a kid, and as a result, I didn't have many friends, and I was also autistic, and the inherent gaslighting and fucking bullying that comes up, just growing up autistic, it's inherent in almost everybody's experience, because there's no way to avoid ableism when you're a kid. You get othered, whether you like it or not. It doesn't matter how friendly you are, doesn't matter how funny you are, And I got othered a lot, a lot, in every single town that I fucking moved to. And as a result of that, I would when I first moved to a place, I would be really quiet, really shy, afraid to speak up and use my voice, because in the past I had always been made fun of, when I started to come out of my shell, and eventually at every place that I moved to, I would come out of my shell. And I would be louder, I would laugh more loudly, and my laugh sounds fucking ridiculous, and I would talk about my interests, which are, really fucking weird for somebody of my age, cartoons and shit, and, plushies and stuff like that, and, quote-unquote, baby games, for, littler kids, or, for teenagers, and I would get made fun of for it, a lot, and it was really stressing. And I was always lonely at first, so I tried, entertaining people and telling jokes, to get people to talk to me, just to get some form of socialization, some form of attention, I was desperate for it. I had no friends at all. And, and using humor as a tool to communicate with people and get people to understand me and try to look at me, always led to me accidentally slipping up and saying something too autistic, or fucking acting too autistic, and then they would immediately fucking make fun of me. And it was always that juxtaposition of having zero friends and nobody paying attention to me, and then as soon as I try to please them or get their attention, they would make fun of me. And that's how it always was. Everywhere I moved. And, it was never enough. Ever, for anybody. And I've always felt that pressure still to, be funny and to capture people's attention, and to put in work into getting people to look at me, to talk to me. And that's always been a pressure on me, and it really resonated with me, especially even as an artist, when people give unsolicited criticism, or they request shit for free, and just something about the narrator really resonated with me, and I really relate to him. And I felt so passionately about this that I really wanted to talk about it on here. It's been on my mind. I think that's time. Yeah, that's the end of the episode. I'm already over 25 minutes. I don't have a strict limit, but I like to end it at around 25 minutes. Now it's 30 minutes. But yeah. Bye. I appreciate you listening.